All right, we're back with Richard Nares, who lost his son, Emilio, to cancer back in 2000. That's when he started a program called Ride with Emilio. To give you a recap, we're going to have Richard talk about his son. He was diagnosed when he was 3 and ended up almost making his 6.
Almost to 6.
Almost to
6.
You were talking to me during break about the hole in your heart. Even though you're doing so much good, this hole in your heart was always there.
It never goes away. You know, when we first lost Emilio, we went to bereavement groups and things, and they tell you that there's time that eventually you'll heal and you'll be okay. Well, we're okay, but that hole has stayed with me since the moment he passed away. It never goes away. It's always there.
What about when you see other children?
Emilio protects me in the sense that he wants me to enjoy other kids, and that's why I feel his presence while I'm working and doing the things that we do at the foundation, and that there's a lot of joy, you know, and he really pushes me to make sure that I have that life, even though he's not here.
And that correlates with what the story you were telling me when he's just a little boy going through horrendous situation, dying of a horrible disease, and you told me he was so strong. He's a little boy and he's so strong and he's comforting you. Tell the viewers about that.
Yeah, well, when you're in the hospital, the rooms are so small. My wife and I had to take turns spending the night, even though we both did, but they'd only allow one parent. So when it was my turn, I would always stay up practically all night with him, watching him and everything, and we would talk, and he would say he's okay. And there was one particular night where he had just had some radiation, and it was a rough radiation afternoon, and he kept spitting up blood, and there was like blood coming out of his mouth, and I had to get a tray, and every 10 minutes he kept spitting up blood and a little bit of tissue, and I was like freaking out, you know.
Yeah.
And I kept wiping his mouth, and he said, "Dad, I'm okay, this is okay." He just reassured me that he's feeling okay, and I couldn't believe it. I said, here he is spitting up blood, he just had radiation, he's not even 6, and he's telling me he's okay.
Oh, what an angel.
Yeah, and there's many nights he would just tell me that he loved me, because we'd be up all night, like I said, and there was times I was trying to doze off a little bit, and he kept saying, "Dad, Dad, I love you." And I said, "Emilio, I love you too." And he did that all night, you know. So we had some special nights, but he was just incredibly resilient to all that he had to go through.
At his last days, was he awake, or did he just go into?
The last few days they had him sedated.
Yeah.
Because he was having a hard time breathing, and they didn't want to disturb him, you know, and get in trouble. But he was sedated, but they told us that he could hear us, and we sat with him the whole time and touched him and constantly and squeezing his hand, but he was not, his eyes were not open. And then the last day of his life, when we knew he was going to die, because he had an infection, they couldn't cure it. They gave us an option either to try an operation to save him for a day or two, or they would unhook all his IVs and everything, and he would pass away. And we said, no, we don't want Emilio to die on the table, because we want him with me. You know, we don't want to lose him that way. So what they did was that morning, they unhooked all his IVs and medicines, and Diane and I got in bed with him, and they just put him across us, and we held him. And then that was it.
But it doesn't stop there. Let's talk about the foundation.
Well, again, it's because of Emilio and what we saw as parents, that other families didn't have the support. My wife and I come from both big family, and we had neighbors, you know, family giving us emotional, physical support. We had a car. So the foundation started just because we saw those families. They did not. Transportation was huge. It did not have, many of those families did not have a car.
Yeah, can you imagine having a sick child, you don't have transportation to go to all the doctor visits?
Yeah. And financially too, it's hard for these families, because they have their budget, and you find yourself going to the hospital 3 or 4 times a week. Where's that gas money coming from?
You can't work, you don't have the money coming in to just pay rent, food, to put food on the table.
Right, yeah, and you have other kids at home or at school.
So yeah, that's the thing. If you have the one child, but people with multiple siblings, like, they don't just go away because you have a sick child.
No.
You have to take care of it.
Your life goes on, and we had many families that were some single parents that had to leave kids at home that were trying to balance that out. You can't leave your child at home.
No. And speaking of children, you told me earlier that you can't have any more children. So Amelia was it. But in a way, Richard, helping these families, like you're adopting all these children, right?
I feel that way.
You're kind of like the papa to all of them.
I feel that way. I mean, I feel blessed to be able to do this work,
Yeah.
and to reach out and to do what we can for these families.
Well, I'm sure they're so grateful. I mean, look at, we're showing pictures right now to the viewers. It's just amazing. And that is why you truly deserve the CNN award. Talk about that.
Well, I was selected as a hero back in May, and they choose 52 heroes, and then they finally go down to the final 10, which gratefully I'm a part of the 10. But the big prize is the CNN Hero of the Year, and that's worth $250,000 to the foundation.
Wow, that's big.
Yes.
How can we help? How can we help you get that prize?
You can go by voting. Go to cnnheroes.com, and with as many Facebook or email addresses you have, you can vote once a day, but with all your email addresses until November 17th.
I got a lot of email addresses.
So you can vote until November 17th.
Awesome. Please vote for this man, our hero, Richard Nares, and for Emilio. Do it for Emilio.
Thank you.
What an honor to have you on my show.
Thank you for having me.
This is what life's about, right? Today's been about inspirational stories and reminding people while we're on the planet to begin with.
To help.
To help.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.